Dr. Melrose Place man has a bit of a nervous breakdown and takes leave to visit a small village in Maine, where he and his ex had purchased a vacation home. Upon arrival, everyone in town hates him, especially John Savage, in the kind of role that it seems like he was born for. He was supposed to inherit the house that Dr. Melrose Place purchased, and even though it's apparently his fault that he didn't end up with the house, he blames the doc, of course, and directs all his drunken idiot friends to menace him whenever and wherever possible. Doc doesn't help his case any by being an idiot most of the time and looking like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. Still, he should burn this shitberg down to the ground. But he has the neutral sheriff Dean Stockwell mostly on his side, and then eventually he wins over the hot, well-reasoned, totally out-of-place store clerk as well. I guess I should mention now that Creepy Crawlers is a killer cockroach movie, as some deadly species of the bug arrive on the shores of town after a victim who was infested with them was thrown off a ship. They kill a couple people in town whose deaths are written off as accidents, but when John Savage is killed, everyone is convinced that Dr. Melrose Place did it on purpose. He wants to investigate, being a doctor and all, but that wouldn't be proper, being a suspect and all. But as the local hillbillies ramp up their bloodlust towards the doc, the cockroach infestation gets worse, and soon the truth cannot be ignored any longer. Creepy Crawlers was made for the USA Network, and it's one of the more entertaining TV movie creature features I can recall. However, it's rarely called Creepy Crawlers. Most places and video releases have this titled They Nest, which is a bad idea since there's already a late 80s cockroach horror movie called The Nest. Whatever, I'm calling it Creepy Crawlers, which is a much better title. The CG is weak, but I don't care, this movie is fun. The bug problem keeps escalating to ridiculous levels, and each time they step up their game, I couldn't help but want to high-five this movie. I hate that Dean Stockwell goes out like a chump in this, but other than that, I enjoyed it. I was renting some movies at my local Redbox, and as I was checking out, a notice popped up asking if I wanted to rent another movie for free. Sure I do, I said to the Redbox, and I randomly grabbed the first horror movie that came up in the new releases section. It spit out The Void, which I'd never heard of, but whatever, it was free. The Void is an Indiegogo funded film that, if I had to come up with a sales pitch for, I'd describe it like this. A handful of people are trapped inside a mostly abandoned hospital, and while Night of the Living Dead happens outside, The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and Hellraiser are happening inside. Now that sounds amazing, right? Well, parts of it sure are, especially whenever the practical goopy effects are on screen. The number of practical effects in this are impressive for a 2016 indie project. I'm not sure the entire thing ends up making any sense, but you should see The Void anyway. There's some talent involved here that hopefully we'll be seeing more from in the future. 1965's Planet of the Vampires is the English-dubbed version of Mario Bava's Terror in Space, featuring popped collars of the future. I guess the costume design makes sense if you're going to the Planet of the Vampires. To be fair though, they didn't know they were going to the Planet of the Vampires, which doesn't really have vampires on it, but oh well. After some spectacular technobabble,
in 60 fractions of Megon, we'll start the landing maneuver.
The intensity of the gravitational field will be maintained at the wave moment of force G7. Synchronize the meteor rejector on the electromagnetic control device. Apply neurovascular tension. Suppress cortical areas X, Y, Z.
The crew of the Argos, answering another ship's distress call from the planet Aura, crashes into it for what feels like 20 minutes. And when they come to, they all attack one another. They eventually stop doing that long enough to discover that the crew of the other ship are all dead, except when they show up to say hello. But it's probably not normal that they're doing that. Story-wise, Planet of the Vampires is unsatisfying. Visually, though, it's a must-see. There's some nifty set design going on here, except maybe for the space office supply storage cabinets. Yes, the uniforms are silly and appear to be uncomfortable as hell, but they get new ones about halfway through the film, and that's something. Also, I have no doubt in my mind that some of the later visuals are an absolute inspiration for Ridley Scott's Alien. At the time, both Scott and writer Dan O'Bannon claimed they'd never seen Planet of the Vampires, but come on. Check out Planet of the Vampires if you're into amazing visuals. Just don't expect it to make much sense.
Tanya, what is it?
Oh, I got a shock.
Ow.
Touching that.
Ouch!
Yeah, you should believe women when they tell you things.